The most recent offering by St. Louis Shakespeare was a delightful production of Wild Oats. If you look that title up on the internet, you'll find two plays by that name. The earlier one, by the Irish playwright John O'Keeffe, premiered at Covent Garden in 1791. You might think this would be an obvious selection for St. Louis Shakespeare, a company that specializes in English drama from earlier periods. In actuality, St. Louis Shakespeare selected the later play, an adaptation of O'Keeffe's comedy by James McClure, who is perhaps best known for the often paired one-act plays Lone Star and Bourbon and Laundry. He died in 2011 at the age of 59. Wild Oats, McClure's Wild Oats, was originally produced as an official entry in the 1984 Olympics Art Festival in Los Angeles. McClure borrowed liberally from O'Keeffe's plot and characters, but he moved the action from the late 18th century England to the Old West. Sir John Thunder, a retired naval officer, becomes Colonel Thunder, who served in the 7th Cavalry. The boatswain, John Dory, becomes Crow, a faithful Irish Indian companion and trusted army scout. Crow's oxymoronic ethnicity is confirmed by a wig with long red hair. One of the many elements McClure retained from O'Keeffe is that the two young men in the play are actors in an itinerant theater company. In an author's note that precedes the script, McClure calls his play an affectionate tribute to the men and women of the late 19th century who toured the American West as traveling players. He says explicitly that the play can be produced with a minimum of theatrical effects and doubling or tripling or even quadrupling in the casting, because that's how Shakespeare would have been performed in the Wild West. What McClure doesn't say, but what St. Louis Shakespeare understood, is that the play thrives on a broad comic acting style. In fact, the story of Wild Oats is so preposterous that a straight performance might not work. What does work is for the actors to acknowledge the silliness of what they're doing in a way that lets the audience in on the joke. One of the first times this happens is when Crow, the Irish Indian servant, tells Colonel Thunder, "You've got a son whom you seldom see out of guilt and whom I, out of a string of amazing coincidences, have never seen." Crow draws attention to the fact that he has never met the colonel's son because the resulting mistaken identity is key to the plot. John Wolbers delivered that line with all the impish pride of little Jack Horner saying, "What a good boy I am." What better way to get the audience to accept an outlandish plot twist than to get it laughing at it well in advance? And Wolbers was by no means alone in appealing to the audience to accept the play's absurdities as part of a shared joke. Under Sean Shealy's direction, the entire cast gave appropriately broad, very entertaining performances in a consistent, disciplined style. This cast wasn't just horsing around for its own amusement, it was bringing out the full potential of the script. The leads were played with flair by Michael Pierce as Colonel Thunder's son Harry, and Eric Kuhn as Harry's fellow actor Jack Rover. Nicole Angeli was a spunky delight as Kate Thunder, the Colonel's niece. In his mind, she's an attractive match for his son because of her newly inherited fortune. The villains were eminently hissable, as portrayed by Chris LaBanca and Anthony Winninger. John Foddy was a hoot as Colonel Thunder, and Jamie Eros was the same as his long-lost love. And there were fine supporting performances in multiple roles by Ashley Bauman, Chuck Winning, Joey Combs, Brandon Riley, Brian Rolfe, and Hannah Paloon. The production had the look and feel of old-fashioned melodrama thanks to Jason Town's set, Linda Lawson's props, Taylor Dunham's costumes, Sean Shealy's fight choreography, Steve Miller's lighting, and Jeff Roberts' sound. Finally, one more comment about the adaptation. In O'Keeffe's original script, Harry Thunder's stage name as an actor is Dick Buskin. A buskin is the kind of boot worn by the original actors in Greek tragedy, and by extension, the word buskin refers to the style or spirit of tragic drama. McClure changed Harry's stage name from buskin to buckskin, referring to an item worn in the Old West rather than one worn in ancient Greece. I mention this to point out how clever Dick Buckskin's name really is.
Gerry, I thought St. Louis Shakespeare's adaptation was a hoot and a holler and a knee-slapping good time.
It really was. Bob and I will be watching some of these productions from our 2 Seats on the Aisle, and we'll be watching the mail and the email for your thoughts on theater in this program and for items from the calendar. Send them to 2 on the Aisle, HEC TV, 3221 McKelvey Road, Bridgeton, Missouri, 63044, or by email to tota@hectv.org.
Join Deborah Sharn for more news about theater on the KDHX blog, Break a Leg Theater in St. Louis and beyond. And find more news about all the arts on State of the Arts on HEC TV on Sundays and Thursdays at 7 p.m.
Catch Mark's reviews in Ladue News, and catch me and Bob next time on Cable and the Web, when we'll go all the way to the full Monty to tell you something good.
Bob and Gerry will be waiting for you.